my boy and co-host Dustin Metcalf, aka Batman722, of course. Dustin, what's up, man?
Not much, Manny. And right beside me is Mr. Manny Costa, aka Pressure 2, on the boards. We're here just talking about some stuff tonight.
Yeah. So we got a new. We're trying out a new format here. I normally am. I'm a cheap bastard, so I record everything into my fucking telephone for now. And this episode, we're recording into my computer for the first time, and we're gonna be trying out some new shit. So bear with us while we try to improve the quality of the podcast.
Just we'll work things out.
We're learning with you.
All right. So what's on store for tonight? What do we got going on?
Well, Dustin, like we talked about in the last episode, we kind of want to go over some suspension stuff.
Yep.
And I don't want to get too crazy with it. People seem to like the idea of us just kind of bullshitting.
Yeah.
And, just talking about our experiences with the car and just sharing our insight.
Yep.
So let's jump right in, man.
All right. So we'll talk about a little suspension. Everybody loves a Celica because it handles well. It's a great handling car stock, but there's a lot of easy, fun things. Some things that are not so easy to do to make your car handle better, make it more fun to drive. One easy thing is strut bars.
Okay, we're gonna start at strut bars.
We'll start at strut bars. It's like I kind of want to start with things that are simple, easy, cheap. I thought almost best bang for your buck. You can get strut bars relatively cheap.
Yeah.
You
can almost make them yourself.
Yeah, I know. Back with my ST, I had a GT4 rear strut bar. You can get OEM one. It's like $75-$80 new from the dealer. And I had a front strut bar. It was actually like a neon strut bar that I drilled the holes to make it fit. And it made a huge difference. I was reading back on my posts about when I first put those on. It was fucking incredible.
Oh yeah,
great.
No doubt about it. They definitely make a huge difference. The whole idea behind a strut bar is it actually kind of connects the two strut towers.
Yeah, exactly.
And solidifies the chassis.
Stiffens up the chassis.
Things up.
I had stock suspension, stock springs, stock struts.
Yeah, even on a stock car, they'll definitely make a difference.
Just the strut bars alone.
The GT, is it just the GTs that come with
GTs?
Just the GTs come with the strut bar from the factory. The STs don't.
Yeah. And those are just tower to firewall. Like
yeah,
a V,
yeah, and they're very flimsy, hollow bars.
Yeah, they're just kind of there for show. They don't really do much at all.
Yeah,
tower to tower. Even
going
like
from an ST and putting in a GT strut bar, a stock GT strut bar.
Yeah, it's a little better. You don't really feel it.
It's not really going to make much of a difference. So
the best things are.
I wouldn't waste any money buying a stock GT bar
unless you get it for like $5.
Yeah, or somebody wants to give it to you for free.
Yeah, because
which I have like 3 on the wall.
I know.
If anybody wants one,
dude, I got the same thing. I got like 2 or 3 in my garage.
It costs you more to ship it than what it's worth.
I know. Dude, they're not that good.
Just fold it in half and ship it.
That's what we did.
Literally, the sad part is you could, and then you just bend it back.
It's like not even worth it.
No, it's not.
But like the GT4 rear and the neon bar that I bought was like $20 for the neon bar shipped from eBay, and those things together was like it was about $100. I drilled holes in the neon bar ring so it fit on the strut tower and
exactly.
fine, and it made a huge difference. Reading back on my posts, I'm like, holy shit, that made a difference, man. It made the car a little bit more fun to drive. And for $100, it was easy. Simple. It was something I did myself.
Yeah, you can do yourself with just 14 millimeter wrench.
And,
for the neon bar, obviously a drill and a drill bit, but I mean, super simple and effective.
Best bang for your buck.
Definitely.
That's like the simple, basic thing. Now there are other strut bars for the front strut bars. Talking about like the TRD bar, Cusco, the J-Speed.
J-Speed is the
all 3-point.
The J-Speed one is a really nice piece.
They
make the 205 version and
it's actually 2 versions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They make the 205 version and the ST202 version.
Yes, yep, exactly.
Which is which fits USDM models and doesn't clear the GT4 hood. GT4 intercooler. Yeah. Just for you guys that
have the stock hood will kind of hit the GT4 one.
Exactly.
So,
I loved my TRD, but it doesn't fit with the 3S GT intercooler.
Exactly.
Yeah. The TRD bar is actually solid. It's nice. It's good. Works well. But yeah, it doesn't work with the 3S GTE. Now
3-point rear bar.
The 3-point rear bars. Now J-Speed makes a 3-point rear bar.
Okay.
Jeff had one. He actually got it from Shin.
Mm-hmm.
From Vin.
Old school. Yeah. Vin, yeah.
And Jeff made the jig, made a copy.
Yep.
He started making the arse, the additional rear support.
Yep.
And I got one. Actually, Jeff gave you one, but
Yep.
you didn't use it for your car. It didn't work right. It didn't bolt. And if, for like whatever reason you didn't use it because you had the GT4 rear.
I didn't want to put it in because I just don't want to take up the space.
Exactly.
I got too much crap in my
So
truck.
I took that. So we got that in Steph's car. We got one of the beams, and that's fucking awesome. That stiffens up the rear like crazy.
I
makes
said that I do not want to drive a Celica without a 3-point rear bar in it.
yeah.
It was that good.
No kidding.
It makes the back end almost sit down.
Yeah.
It's kind of like.
Well, again, it's all about stiffening the chassis. The more you can stiffen the chassis, obviously because our car's a unibody, the more you can stiffen the chassis, the more response and the better the car's going to feel.
Yeah. No, everybody wants to lower their car.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to.
Of course.
If you're going to sell it, you want to lower it. Stop showing me your balls.
Oh, sorry, man.
So, everyone wants to lower the car. So, what do you need to lower the car to?
Well, it depends on how much money you want to spend. It's all
The
about
simple,
your budget.
basic way is
Basically, you're going to start off,
springs.
springs and struts, and then you can, obviously you can get
Upgrade
into,
up to,
upgrade up to coilovers and all kinds of different custom spring rates, as you know.
Yeah.
If you want to, track your car, you're going to start getting into, spring rates and stuff like that.
a little stiffer, a little harder.
I don't want to get crazy like that now.
No,
Let's just keep it really simple. We'll start off with
why not?
springs.
Most common springs that are well known, like the teens.
Or the iBox.
Yeah, the iBox, iBox Pro Kit, iBox Sport lines.
Yeah, the teens are cheaper.
Yeah, they are. They're a little stiffer.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
have more of a drop.
I have the sport lines.
Yeah.
That's
How do you
what
like
I've
them?
had. Dude, I've had them for so long.
What do you think about them? You like them or not?
Well, I'll be honest with you.
Would you buy them again?
One of my first posts on 6GC was about having the suspension installed, and my initial, you can go back and read the things. It was
Yep.
like, it made a night and day difference, obviously. For me personally, it kills the wheel gap, especially with the setup that I have now, because
Yep.
I have the 17-inch wheels with the 225, 45 wheels tires.
Wide-ass tires, yeah.
Well, they're not that wide. They just they have a little more sidewall than some of the guys, especially the guys that like like to camber their tires and all that stuff. They don't
Yep.
like the bigger tire. I actually like the bigger tire because we have really shitty roads, and it gives you a more comfortable ride. And
It
for
does.
me, it gives you kind of a more track ready kind of appearance versus the kind of the guys that like the stance look, or
Yeah.
that
Now-
whatever how they call it,
Now, Steph has the
whatever.
teens in her car, and she's had the teens for years now. They drop it down pretty good. I think gives a little bit of a harsh ride.
A little bit stiffer.
Yeah, a little stiffer, a little harsh ride. I have the TRDs. I had them in my car first. They're actually in the beams now.
Yeah.
I bought new KYB struts.
Yeah.
KYB OEM replacements.
Yeah, that's
like
the most
AGR.
typical.
Typically easy. It's the best things to do. They're most
Yeah,
comfortable.
for 99.9% of the guys, unless you're tracking your car,
KYBs are fine.
Exactly, they're going to work perfectly, and they fit like OEM and all that
Yep.
crap, and they're just good cheap OEM replacements.
No, the TRDs are soft. Well, I wouldn't say they're soft, but they're the best for lowering and making your car still kind of feel like stock,
Yeah.
like the soft.
Yeah, if you want a
ride,
soft
Comfortable
ride, and you just
comfortable
want
ride.
to kind of just kill the wheel gap just a little, and
Yeah.
you don't want to get
Yeah.
aggressive with it.
Still handles
The
lower. Still looks
TRDs are
good.
nice.
Still works pretty good.
The iBox Pro Kit is pretty comparable.
Yeah,
to the TRDs, 'cause
I
that's
think the
supposed to be a
Pro
1
Kit
inch.
is this rebadged as TRD.
Exactly.
That's
what that was the rumor years ago. That the TRDs would basically just rebadged
the
iBox Pro Kit.
Which I don't know.
Which it is comparable. If you look at
They
the
probably
drop that
are,
they
yeah.
give and the way they ride, it is. They're a softer spring versus the Sport line. The Sport
dude,
lines are like they're advertised as 1.5 inch. Once they settle in and stuff, it's more like 2 inches or so. Just like kind of just about the same as the Sport lines.
The one thing I don't like about the TRDs, and probably the Pro Kit too, it's like it doesn't lower the front enough.
Yeah, I've
And
noticed that.
where it's like, just like stock, the front looks a little higher than the rear. So this takes it just like stock, but just lowers it down about an inch and a half at most.
Exactly.
So you still have that too much in the front look,
Little bit offset, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not quite right. Whereas the teens will drop them down.
A little more equal,
and
you think?
Yeah, it'll make the car look much more
Equal
even.
wheel gap.
Yeah, equal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Which eventually I get into coilovers. I got coilovers in my car.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Yep.
Oh,
You know what?
great.
Before we
Yeah.
talk about coilovers,
Yeah.
let's just mention strut mounts, just because we're talking about struts and
Yeah, I hear you, man.
when you replace your struts, you're gonna want to probably look at your strut mounts. There's something that most guys just kind of skip over and don't think about replacing. There are parts that wear in there. If your car has over 100, 150,000 miles,
those are the top mounts right there.
yeah, the top mounts, exactly. You probably want to look into replacing those. For the front mounts, I've used a couple different brands, the OEMs and the Moogs. I didn't notice much of a difference. The one thing I did notice is when I did the rears.
Yeah, your rears were
I did
fucked up, dude.
the Moog mounts, and they started banging right from when I first got them. They made a really loud knocking noise when you went over bumps, and they don't include the boots that cover the struts.
No
the
shit,
biggest thing when you
boots,
get struts, those boots that protect the shaft are actually really important because the more dust that gets on that shaft, the quicker the strut wears.
Yep.
So if you get a aftermarket top mounts, you can buy universal boot kits.
The ones from the dealer aren't expensive.
Yeah.
They really aren't, like $12.
Yeah, for the front.
Themselves?
Yeah, for the fronts. For the rears, you can't buy the boots separately. The boot and the mount is one piece. It's $110 each side. I bought them.
Yeah, way back when you.
Yeah, I bought it. That's what I replaced the Moogs
put them
with.
in that one day.
Yeah.
And
It's worth it to get
dude, just
Dude,
get OEMs.
that's what I was just
stick
gonna.
with
That's what I was
OEMs.
just gonna say.
That's
For
the
the
thing.
rears, definitely get the OEM ones. Spend the extra. I know they're a lot more expensive, but it's worth it.
The fronts, just because, I mean, I work
To
in
me,
a
it's
dealer, so
I say the same
totally
thing,
different
Steph.
to me,
But
but-
some guys like to try to save money, so you can save a few bucks on the fronts because it's not.
Yeah, it's not that big of a
Yeah,
difference.
the difference isn't as big. You know.
we put my original fronts in.
Mhm.
My original top mounts have 242,000
Mine,
miles on
mine
them.
too in the fronts. I only replaced the rears.
And there's
Yeah,
like
they're
nothing
just
wrong
fine.
with them.
I replaced
It's
the
fine.
rears. That's what I did.
They
So,
don't wear like the Camrys of the same generation. Have
so
problems,
it's what I get from this. Don't get Moog fucking top mounts for the rear.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it. Just
Exactly.
don't hit a bad thing. Quickly about end links. If you're gonna change your struts and springs, the front end links you don't have to take off. The rear end links you have to take off. Taking off end links can be a bitch. Sucks.
Yeah, for you guys that haven't worked on them yet, they
Sucks.
the mounting system for them is really funky. It's got a 8mm Allen key that actually
Goes in
is
there and all
in
that.
there. It's like a stud that sticks out with an 8mm Allen key hole, and then you use a 14mm nut on the end of that stud.
Yeah.
And what happens is as soon as you go to try to loosen them, 99% of the time you'll strip that Allen head out.
Yeah.
And you'll be screwed. So, a couple of suggestions: PB Blaster.
Yeah.
If you don't know what PB Blaster is, Google it. The stuff is if you don't have it or don't have it locally, get somebody to get it. Talk to one of the guys on the board, or try to find some kind of rust. What's it called? Penetrating oil.
Yeah, penetrating stuff. WD-40, PB Blaster.
WD-40 doesn't work as good as PB Blaster, dude. I mean, that really helps. If you're anticipating doing them, you can start spraying them a couple of days in advance. You spray them, whenever you're around the house, you spray them a couple times, just walk away, let it set for 10 or 15 minutes, and then go back. That and a combination of heat, you can sometimes get them to come out.
Go for the 2s are Us, the 185 links for the rear and the front.
Yep,
definitely. Or the rears, honestly, better
Miata,
the rear end links for the Miatas.
Beat or something like that.
Racing Beat, exactly.
Yeah.
Asian Advance had a good post about them. I bought them, I tried them, I had the 185s. My 185 ones started rusting up on me.
Yeah.
They're
all rust. You can paint them or whatever and protect them, but it's just one of those things. That's just.
Oh my God, it's the Miata ones. They have like a polyurethane bushings in them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the ball joint ones like the regular end links.
Yeah.
So they're stiffer.
Yep.
And you don't feel the stiffness, but you feel the difference in the handling. It made a difference. They made a difference on my car.
It makes sense.
They made a huge difference. Like for, I had stock sway bars and I had the TRD rears with the, like the TRD springs.
Yep.
And stock, KYB struts.
Yep.
Made a difference with the strut bar and back.
I believe
it made a huge difference.
especially on the older cars, dude. Our cars are so old and the suspension components are usually so worn that when you start replacing things like that, you'll notice a huge difference from replacing one little part, and a big part of it is just things are worn. So now you're replacing stuff, and once you replace them with a new part, doesn't matter whether it be OEM or aftermarket,
Yep.
you'll notice a huge difference, especially with suspension components like
ball
that.
joints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ball joints make a big difference.
They
Just
really
the
do.
ride quality.
Of course. So now we can start talking about the coilovers. And,
Yeah, coilovers and sway bars. This is bigger stuff. Coilovers, like what do you look for when you look for coilovers?
Well, number one, you want adjustability, of course.
Yeah.
You
Adjustability with the ride height, and also with the with like the dampering, with like the ride comfort sort of thing.
Exactly.
I bought